I was always looking for opportunities to be and do more in the communities that really I live, work, and serve. One of my colleagues approached me with this opportunity for the case competition. And then we walk into this 8-week experience not knowing what we got ourselves into, from a time commitment, from a not knowing anyone, to having to create an amazing campaign, present it to judges, and then implement a campaign if we won in 8 weeks. It's been an amazing journey. I think one of the things I've learned is when you get behind a cause that is meaningful and there's a lot of opportunity, you can do a lot more than you even think you can do. When I first met with United Way staff and talking about kind of the vision for what I wanted to accomplish as chair, and give them my commitment to deliver on that, to cultivate the steering committee. So this year, teams are going to be continuing in this overarching theme of food insecurity, but they've kind of taken a different path to how they're solving this issue. And this year, what teams are focused on doing is creating a awareness campaign on the benefits of these farmers markets and how they impact health outcomes and food insecurity.
There's been certainly a movement here in Hartford to understand the importance of farmers markets and have them accessible in more parts of the community, more days of the week, so that people have that opportunity to access that fresh food. Unfortunately, at the same time, and especially with the pandemic, we've seen the overall usership of farmers markets decrease.
So my primary purpose is really to provide access to fresh, affordable fruits and vegetables and to support our farmers. So it's a win-win for the residents and the farmers. They have a place to bring their produce, and the residents are able to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables on a weekly basis.
Just the amount of people and the diversity of people that you come in contact with in a city market. We've been part of lots of suburban markets, Coventry, Stonington, West Hartford, stores, lots of them. And nothing is as just exciting as Hartford.
People need to be educated about healthy foods and where it's coming from and who grows it. They got to see that this farmer here, that's what he do. So I wish that people would be more connected to the farmer.
I think farmers markets matter, not only for the farmers and the vendors and the small businesses, but for the community and the neighborhood and the city as a whole. I think it's a huge benefit for community members. It's a huge benefit for food access, but it's also the livelihood of the farmers and the small businesses that come here.
It's really important that we are finding ways to make these markets more accessible to people in the community and helping people in the community understand when the markets are happening and how to get to them and take advantage of them. The markets are here and the opportunities to get the fresh produce is here, but people need to know about it. They need to have the opportunity to make it out and enjoy the market and to have that benefit.
In our global network of United Ways, no one was doing anything like this. There were no best practices, there were no do's and don'ts, but there was a vision. And tonight we're kicking off our 4th competition.
We're meant to be working in community, and this is about community. It's about us caring about community, and working in community is the most genius way that we can fully exploit all of our gifts.
I'm so excited to have this opportunity to engage with all of you and to be part of what I can assure you is going to be an amazing journey. You're coming into this as amazing emerging leaders, and you're going to come out of this that much stronger, that much smarter, that much more committed and empathetic relative to the needs of our community.
So why are we here tonight? We're trying to take a deep dive into our challenge. Your teams are being asked to serve as consultants, right? You are creating public awareness campaigns that are going to be rolled out in the summer of 2023 and leading up to the summer. Our winning team will help the United Way actually implement these plans. So it's a very impactful opportunity for any of our selected teams that make it all the way to the end. And regardless of whether or not you're based in Hartford or across the country, no matter where you are, food insecurity is a universal issue.
There are food insecure households in every community. It could be your coworker, a student, or your neighbor. And that's part of the reason why we use the term neighbor when talking about those who are food insecure, because it reminds us that it could be anyone.
The focus of our campaigns here are those under the ALICE designation, asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So these are folks, right, that are trying to do their best to make ends meet, and an unexpected emergency here or there, a car payment, a leaky roof, some sort of sickness for their children could really put them under a significant way. And one of the first things that gets sacrificed when you're trying to keep a roof over your head is food.
Many ALICE households earn too much to qualify for SNAP, but still can't make ends meet, which shows us it's not just people who qualify for government assistance who can't afford food.
People were getting SNAP benefits because their kids weren't in school, and so it was filling that gap where they weren't getting school lunches. So it comes into play a lot when people are finding themselves on hard times.
These farmers markets play a pivotal role, and we want you to help them be even more of an influence in our local neighborhoods.
In some cases, we've had residents where the farmers market's, a half a block from their home, and they just didn't have an awareness that it was there, or they knew it was there, but they had never gone. And sometimes it's just that nudge because there's an interaction with a pastor or a teacher or a program leader, and then they have a coupon where they can go and get free produce. And by going that one time, it often can lead to someone visiting, again and again.
The entire program here that we're focusing on and uplifting Hartford farmers markets is one way to sustain a local ecosystem, right? So Hartford farmers markets are a pivotal part of that because they are access to locally grown fresh produce, but them being brought to markets help support the local farmers that are growing those foods.
I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to our design thinking workshop. This is really, really exciting.
How human-centered is something like food insecurity? That's about as human as you're going to get of a challenge. How do we get a very creative problem-solving approach? How do we make it collaborative? You and your teams are working together, not just you, but also working with many of the partners that we've introduced you to.
They're really communication principles. They help us to be more confident and clear as presenters and more attentive and engaged as listeners and participants. And, they help us to agree and to collaborate with our teammates. So we've taught these same principles to hundreds of organizations, including ESPN and Lego Systems and Adobe and Comcast and your predecessors, buddy. Let's unmute our microphones and ride a roller coaster together. All right.
Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey everybody, let's do the Macarena.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's. Hey, Macarena. Next.
Thank you everyone and good evening. As you guys may already know, my name is Elena. I will be your logistic lead for today. And so far you guys have done an amazing job in the competition. So give yourself a hand clap. And we truly are so proud of what you've already accomplished.
Today I have with me Harmony, Damon, and I am Sean. To start things off, we'd like to our audience and the rationale on why we chose them.
I'll start off with something I think you can expand on in your future presentations because I think it's super valuable, and that's the Beyond the Campaign, focusing on education and creating healthy habits early in life. I was really glad to see that. I like how you're thinking about that. I think, in presentations in the future in the next panel, judging panels, making sure that you hit that and even maybe putting that up front as a value that you're striving toward in this will be super helpful and a strong selling point.
To utilize the market and really bring awareness to the events that we would like to host is to have essentially a kickoff day with that particular farmer's market, bring in some food trucks, have some events, and just really show what we plan to do with the community, with the students, and with that particular farmer's market.
That you had a great strategy about going door to door.
who's opening the door? Our community, I think you need to think about who are trusted individuals that you could potentially partner with. There's a lot of community meetings, there's a lot of individuals that work with the community now, so I recommend looking at some of those organizations and partnership opportunities if you're thinking about a door-to-door campaign.
I think this, just to be transparent, this section really was one of a challenge for us because there is no baseline for this case or the campaign. And we're trying to really use these metrics as a way to gather insights and identify different trends. And the reason that we're starting a month before the summer season for these farmers markets is to try and do just that.
You referenced the Empire Carpet commercial song. Those little jingles are great. We've done them before. They are not inexpensive. They're great. I mean, you never forget them.
Just do a little bit more digging to see who are the people in the community that you can reach, who can help you spread that message. That might be more time spent than funds spent on an influencer.
So I'm excited to see like the new feedback and to see that we actually address some of the points. That's what I'm most excited for the presentation, to kind of clean it up and see the new reaction. And this is really, really good right from the jump.
But I also agree that there were some holes that, we thought were some of our strengths, were pointed out to us as weaknesses. So it's just like a different perspective and how we can use that feedback to kind of readjust and revamp our strategy a little bit.
Like we all believe like really heavily in this idea, and I know that we really want this to actually happen. So I think like having that drive behind us will lead us through the next round as well.
Good evening, everyone. We're looking forward to sharing the progress that we've made on our campaign project. As you said, we've kind of done a little bit of rebranding. So our campaign slogan is "Summer Starts Here." And I know I speak for Laurel, Darlin, and Dalton that we are very excited to show you the work that we've made on this project.
So my question is, I mean, I didn't know a lot about Ready Chef Go bags, but I looked it up. I thought that idea was very interesting. I like the spin you took, and now that you explained it, of looking at one of the markets, but there must have been some conversation of how that would translate into the other 7.
When developing our own event, we wanted numerous events in the city at various times that our audience could attend by walking, since 42% of our target audience does not own vehicles.
I really, I wanted to point out the fact that you were leveraging neighborhood resources to spread your message, and the fact that you made your campaign very simple, direct, and easy to digest. So kudos on that.
We want to measure, one, is our campaign successful in increasing awareness and food insecurity for themselves, but also we want to make sure we increase the utilization of services as well.
As far as the presentation, it was tight. I think you all shared in explaining different parts of the presentation. You did a great job. The visuals were interesting. So you did your work. And we appreciate it, and it shows.
You guys did such a good job sharing in the presentation. They did a really good job spacing it out, sharing.
I felt like we did like we always do. We came through in the 13th hour. Like, this team is rock stars.
Thoroughly impressed that they started out with all the things that happened and were so able to pivot.
Practice, practice, practice. The way he grilled us going into round 1, I think, was the best preparation we could have gotten. And it didn't necessarily prepare us for round 1. It prepared us for round 2.
Now I'm invested, like I've had conversations with all of the community leaders that we've reached out to, and like now they're on board.
I feel like we all kind of going away from this presentation too. It's like we, especially within our own organization, we're able to make a lot of connections like through this process, just learning about food insecurity and resources and just ways that we can help our community. So I think that even outside of doing this case competition, we'll be able to do more work within our own jobs.
When we first started this journey, or when this team started the journey, I think they dug in straight into the problem. But as they took a step back and pivoted to actually trying to find out why they're here, I think it became very apparent to us that storytelling was going to be very important as they were going through their presentation.
So the judges were really good judges, and they really understood the material. They understood
what was required. Not many people have that access to get feedback from somebody at that level.
They were all really unique personalities, like unique in a way that, you know, you could cut with a knife. They were, you know, we had the loud person, we had the soft-spoken person, we had the strong personality, the person who just wanted to be led around. I'll never forget this experience.
Congratulations on making it to the finals. I've said it before, but you guys, you know, you work hard, you work long hours, you could be doing anything with your free time, but you've all chosen to learn more about Greater Hartford, the United Way, and complex societal issues that we have, which is food insecurity. So I admire you for that, and I thank you for that.
We wanted to focus our campaign on bringing the farm to the home of Hispanic ELS caregivers. This presentation will tell you exactly why and how we plan to do that. For the Hispanic community, we understand that quality time with your family means everything, and that for many working caregivers, making a fresh and nutritious dinner is not always an easy nor feasible task every day. That is why our campaign is titled Bring the Farm Home, or La Granja Para en tu Casa, as it will inspire children to learn more about healthy eating while educating caregivers about doubling SNAP benefits at the markets.
We really wanted to focus on how Hispanic caregivers are more inclined to engage as a family and highly value independence. This is why we created our event as an experience.
As you've learned throughout our presentation today, our campaign focuses on the longer-term benefits of these farmers markets. You can't get free health screenings or get a book on nutrition or even get recommended recipes from just your grocery store. We want to really emphasize these differences to increase the utilization of these farmer markets as a lifestyle.
When I see the PSA, right, I'm thrown into that dynamic cold. How did you envision that you were going to, you know, give the depth of who they are more than what you can do within the context of a PSA?
Our plan is to use a mix of traditional marketing techniques like bus stop advertisements and non-traditional marketing techniques like location-based social media ads. We will deploy a targeted and effective campaign. We will connect people with their local community, and we will enable them to make healthy food selections for a longer life.
As we will discuss in our presentation, we plan to work with the Food Share SNAP coordinator to have volunteers at each event we are sponsoring to help attendees determine if they qualify under the new rules.
By empowering members of the community to represent United Way, they'll then go out and share information such as news and information about the farmers market and SNAP benefits. Wearing gifted brand ambassador merch will also initiate conversations within the community and its surrounding areas.
We'll also be dropping barriers of market location awareness and language barriers by involving multilingual volunteer support from our Comcast employee resource groups.
With life's uncertainties, one thing that remains constant is our craving for culture and community. With United Way Farmers Markets, a taste of home is around the corner.
I really liked the element of your PSA, which was a taste of home. And I know that the rest of your presentation was really focused on the SNAP marketing, but I think you have a real opportunity there in the taste of home. And I think that that's really what the farmers markets are all about.
With the data that we found, we saw that like people aren't coming because they're just not familiar with the markets themselves.
We also have community partnerships with all 7 farmers markets, as well as Park Street Library at the Lyric and Wilson Gray YMCA. Those will be our 3 main locations outside of the little pantries that we plan to physically be at and to flyer.
This campaign is starting off in Frog Hollow. However, it is very easy to plug this and play into any community in Hartford. And our main goal here is to connect the entire community. So by doing this campaign multiple times in different small communities within the city of Hartford, we can then come together and connect the community in total.
You make it very, very easy. It's user-friendly, it's warm, welcoming. I thought you did an excellent job.
I'm curious, like, how tonight was different from the previous rounds in your experience.
I thought the team was like phenomenal. Like, you just rocked it. Like, really rock.
Overall, fantastic job.
Fantastic.
We nailed it. We nailed it on time. We nailed it on everything.
I was pleasantly surprised by just how great the feedback was, and we do have some work with the PSA, and honestly, like, I think even if we don't win, it's been a really great experience.
How did this feel versus the other sessions you've gone through? Now you have 30 minutes versus a shorter time.
We were just so much more cohesive this time. Like I'm immensely proud of my team.
I know what I want to say. I'm going to say it this way. And like, I didn't have any anxiety or any like anxiousness, and it kind of just like flowed, which was really different from the previous experiences.
Testimonials online or like data is great, but it's like when you're actually able to sit down and speak with somebody who knows what you're trying to talk about and knows the group that you're trying to impact, like there's nothing more helpful than that type of advice and feedback.
With the third round, I think we felt confident with the feedback and how we flipped it, like took that feedback, which kind of allowed us to carry that through the entire presentation and how we delivered it.
Each one of them supported each other. And I'll tell you, it really was very touching to be part of this team. I admire these people more than anything.
Likewise.
I thought this was a good opportunity for me to kind of mentor a group of individuals trying to solve a real world community problem.
I came part of this by invitation. I never done anything like this before, which was totally exciting.
They chose to sign up for a competition that took away all of their time that they could be with their family, took up, an amazing amount of personal resources. And my team went through a lot. So it's with a group of people who I really admire. And I think it's really easy to be more committed to something when you're touching people who you have great admiration for.
So did anyone incorporate that into their presentation, how they would strengthen the future of farmers markets based on some of their research or conversations that they had?
I think they all did. I think in both their presentation and their executive summaries, they each touched on beyond the campaign.
So last time we said, is it simple and straightforward? This time, realistic is in service.
Execution.
So, yeah. So
I did take a little bit of issue with the realisticness of the budget.
Am I hearing 2 across the board, or am I hearing a little lower? What do you feel there?
I would say 2 and 2 and then 1 for them.
All 3 were prepared and live.
Yes.
Polished is the one that kind of hangs me up.
Some missteps along the way, but at an aggregate, I wouldn't say they didn't meet expectations.
I do see your point, Mackenzie, in that they're utilizing something that's already out there. Mm-hmm. Like if there was a project and they said like, oh, let's call this project United Way, it's like, well,
yeah.
I mean, that's not,
I think they were going for a cultural connection. The material was there, mm-hmm. The thought was there, they did their research. I think to give them a 1 it sounds punitive almost, and they're not deserving of that. They were certainly more engaged and connected with some key community organizations, yep. Key influencers. I just felt that it just felt warm, welcoming, and very, very informative.
Do they have the communications plan? Did they explain what their communications plan was?
They were all great. I tell you, you can tell that they spent a lot of time, gave it a lot of thought.
Now being on this side of it, having been a participant before, I can assure you all 3 of those teams put in a significant amount of work, and I'm sure our entire enterprise at United Way is grateful for all of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the conversation, because that really helped me, understand pieces that I might have missed during their presentations. I thought everybody did a great job. Well, I'm excited to see who the winners might be, so I'm just waiting for the oh, here we have. Uh-oh. Well, thank you, Rebecca. So, wow, this is a close competition. Wow, this is fantastic. And we have a winner, and the winner is Food Fighters from Aetna, a CVS health company. Congratulations.
On behalf of my whole team, I know we are so excited to see Bring the Farm Home come to life. First, obviously, we'd like to thank United Way and the ELS committee for creating such an incredible and developmental experience for all of us and all of the teams. So thank you to the judges every round for providing our team with such thoughtful feedback, and then ultimately for recognizing our team's passion for this campaign.